The next type of operators on our list are comparison operators, and in here we are also going to cover the concept of equality in JavaScript. As you already heard of the arithmetic operators, the same goes for comparison operators. That's it. These are the comparison operators. Comparison operators compare two values and return Boolean value true or false. Let's write that down. Comparison operators, and then return either true or false. That sentence is the main takeaway. If you understand that, you're good to go. The return value of a comparison operator is always going to be a Boolean value. The topic of equality in JavaScript is closely connected to the comparison operators. I've got you covered there as well. We are going to go through both topics in this video, so let's start. Let's say we have two numbers. Const A is going to be equal to 5 and const B is going to be equal to 10, the same as in last video. First, we are going to learn how to test whether a value is greater than the other value. We can do that by doing console.log, and then A is larger than B. That's it. Just a simple console log. In here we have A, then we have a comparison operator greater than, and then we have B. If we test that out, as you can see, we are always going to get a Boolean value, either true or false. In this case, we get false because A is not greater than B. We can also test whether a value is greater than or equal to. For that, you just put a equal sign immediately next to the greater than sign. For me, it merges them together, but it's completely the same thing. So if I do that, we are still going to get false, but right now, if I make A to be equal to 10 as well, you can see it's true because they are the same, but in here we have the equality as well. If we make this 11, it's still going to be true, and if we make it 9, it's not going to be true anymore. So let's bring this back to 5, and we are also going to keep all of them in the comments. So in here, I'm going to say greater than, also greater than or equal to, and that's the one that we have right below. Greater than is of course just the greater than sign without the equal to sign. That's it. Then we can also test whether a value is less than other value, so less than, and we are going to do a console log. In there, A is less than B. That's it. Just a sign that's completely opposite of this one. If you cannot find these signs on your keyboard, just feel free to Google less than or greater than signs on your specific keyboard. That's it. So less than, and that's going to be true. But let's just comment out these console logs so they don't cause any interruptions. In here, we get only true because 5 is indeed less than 10. That's it. Let's also comment that one. And let's do less than or equal to. So what do you think? How are we going to do that? Well, we're just going to add less than and then the equal sign next to it, just like this. Again, for me, it ties them together, but it's absolutely the same thing. If we test that out, again, we're going to get true. If we make them equal, so 10 and 10, we get true. But right now, if we try that the same thing, 10 and 10 with just the less than, it's not going to be true. It's false. Because A is not lower than B, they are equal. But if we do less than or equal to with the equal operator, that's going to be true as well. Finally, now we have the equality operators. We can test whether a value is equal. So we can say is equal. How do we do that? Again, in the console log, we're going to test it out. We're going to see whether A is going to be equal to B. Remember, we do one equal sign when we want to assign a variable. We're going to learn about the assignment operator later on. And then we want to do two equal signs when we want to check whether a value is equal. So if we test that out, because now they're both 10, we are indeed going to get true. The thing that we can test next are whether values are not equal. So I'm going to do a new line, new comment, say not equal. And then in there, we're going to create a console log like this. So how do you say something is not something? Not. In programming, for not, no, negation, something like that, we always use the exclamation point, just like this. So we're going to say A exclamation point equal sign B. Again, it turns into something different for me, but that's just exclamation mark and then the equal sign tied together. That's it. So A is not equal to B. That's what we are testing, whether they are not equal. Remember, all comparison operators and equality operators, this one here, return Boolean values, either true or false. And we are testing whether A and B are not equal. A and B in our case are both 10, so they are equal, and this returns false. If we try changing this to 5, they are now not equal, and it's going to return true. What you're going to see more often are going to be strict equality and strict inequality operators. They look like this. So I'm going to write strict equality and then strict inequality. So inequality, just like that. So for strict equality, we do console.log, and it's absolutely the same thing as above, A, but in this case, we don't have double equal sign, we have triple equal sign. So this is a strict equality. In JavaScript, you're going to see people do this much more often than this. We're going to explain exactly why in the next video. In the same way, we do the strict inequality, but instead of the 3 equal signs, we do first not sign, exclamation mark, and then double equal sign. This is going to say whether values are strictly not equal. So you can see A is not equal to B, we do get true, and that's because our A and B were 5 and 10, which are not equal. If we try 10 and 10, you see we get false. Great, everything we've covered so far is pretty straightforward. The only thing I'd like to take a deeper look at is the strict versus loose equality. What are the differences and when should we use each option? Let's cover that in the next lesson.